All right, we are back. Here we go again. I'm with my boy Mello. This is part two. And oh, what I didn't tell you too, you named the episode yesterday. So that's part one. This dude is hip hop part two. All right. That's what's going on. And we back. So I remember right where we left off because I want to ask this, and you could just skim over it, and I'm gonna put
Okay.
a couple people in it. I want to talk about working with Heather B, Mobb Deep, Flavor Flav, Sticky Fingers, I mean, Petey Pablo. I mean, we can take it however, you know what I mean? I'm just running down your resume for you, though.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that was the let me put it like this. When I talk about the artists that I work with,
Mm.
one of the things that was most exciting for me was meeting these people because they were all my heroes,
Mm.
and Mobb Deep. Let me go to Mobb Deep first because in that studio that I came up in, uh, like I said, it was fertile soil for hip hop. Prodigy's grandmother lived around the corner from that studio.
Word.
So I met Mobb Deep before their first album, Juvenile Hell. As a matter of fact, the producers out of that building, some of the up and comers, my man Kerwin Sleek Young actually produced portions of that Juvenile Hell. So I see these young dudes, they were probably about, I'd say about 2 feet tall. They looked like they were like 2 feet tall, both of them. And they had this swag. And, we were all in there and everybody was trying to cultivate their own material and everything. And I was still writing and working. And they just had such a good energy. So we all met on the come up. And I watched them evolve. And then after I did Put Your Hands, I stopped in the studio to go see them. And I was like, I was just giving them a salute. And they were like, "You got any beats, Mello?" I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Right.
And me, Buddha, and Epitome, we had this one track that made it onto their murder music album called USA I Did, which is
Mm.
really, and then Nas actually is on a version of this particular record. And working with them was awesome because I had a chance to watch them evolve from little kids to
Right.
little men.
Some shorties, right? Yeah.
But there's no disrespect in that. They a gentleman. Havoc, super talented producer, Prodigy, rest in peace, my friend.
Yes,
And they
definitely,
were
bro.
solid. Their work ethic was on 10 at all times. And I also met other artists through them. Adolf the Assassin, who later on went on to become Aguilar.
Mm.
And other artists, Noid, and all these other guys would come out to Long Island, and I got and it was just a pleasure to meet that whole Queensbridge conglomerate. And so I watched them, and they were hard, and they were rough, and I enjoyed that because the music I do, I'm a mellow dude, but I love all types of hip hop. I
Right.
love NWA as much as I love Public Enemy,
Right.
so I love Mobb Deep as much as I love Big Daddy Kane. So
Yeah.
there's no difference in that. And so Mobb Deep were some of the earlier ones that I encountered, and from the same building that I met Busta Rhymes in, I met Mobb Deep. And then also funny story is when the Bomb Squad, who now at this particular time they were trusting me more. We had done Biv Devoe together.
Mm.
That was a major turning point in my career. I hadn't made any records before Biv Devoe, and when the Bomb Squad asked me to write on that Poison album, I was not an R&B writer. I was an MC and a
Mm.
wordsmith, and they trusted my talent enough to know that if I was connected with the right writers, because we co-wrote that whole project,
Mm.
and I learned and I grew and I contributed, and it was a great formula for me. Meeting Biv Devoe and seeing their posters, the New Edition posters on my sister's wall growing up, and I won't tell you which one she was in love with because she killed me. But meeting them was like watching those posters come to life right before me.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I respected their talent, and working with them was a highlight, an early highlight, because this is 1990. So after that, and Mobb Deep came after that. Mobb Deep came in like 98.
Mhm.
Buster came in 97. Biv DeVoe was 1990. And then after Put Your Hands came out, we ran into Heather. Commissioner Gordon, good friend of mine, he was working with Heather at the time.
Heather
I had already, when I was in college, I went to go see KRS-One at Stony Brook University at a college party, and I'm a KRS-One proselyte for sure, definitely a disciple of KRS-One. And I saw Heather on stage and D Nice on stage with him, and I'm like, dang, I was excited that those people were that close to Chris while I'm watching, because I also saw Chris at Latin Quarters with Melly Mel, and I had seen a lot of historical moments in history, Union Square, Latin Quarter, but this one particular night at Stony Brook University, Heather was on stage with KRS-One. So just that affiliation alone, and then watching her in the real world, and just watching her evolution just as a strong Black woman that represented this hip hop to the fullest, and she was skilled. And working with her was exciting. One thing that was very interesting about Heather, which we weren't used to, we were used to musty sessions. And what I mean by that is a bunch of dudes in there drinking and smoking and all kinds of stuff. And Heather, when we went in the studio with Heather, she put on the incense and just created a mood and candles and the atmosphere. And I was like, whoa, this is how all my sessions are gonna be from now on.
Yeah, right. I might try that. I gotta try.
Coming up, we were young dudes, and we thought that's what you're supposed to do in hip hop. You're supposed to be drinking your 40s and all those other things, but
still happens.
We were misinformed. And Heather definitely showed me how to really create a good atmosphere, and also working with her, I met the producer Domingo, who was doing other records on her project too. So I got a chance to, and the thing about it, the evolution of it is that throughout the evolution, I got a chance to meet other people from these people. So from Heather, I met Domingo. From Commissioner Gordon, I met some other people, and then it just kind of snowballed. And then if I go back even further, when Ice Cube came to town and Public Enemy and the Bomb Squad were producing his first album, America's Most Wanted, they asked me and my partner Epitome, we hadn't done. I only think I had done BBD at this moment, not quite yet, or either I hadn't done it, or either I hadn't received any royalties yet. So I know I was broke. That part I remember.
Okay.
And they were like, Ice Cube just left NWA. He wants to come to New York. Can you guys hang with him and just kind of show him around and make sure he knows what's going on? Make sure So when Ice Cube and Jinx came to town, we spent a lot of time with them during the production of America's Most Wanted. You might hear my voice in a couple of backgrounds. Fuck you, Ice Cube, on Nigga You Love to Hate. Just watching his process really was the most exciting thing for that. And I learned a lot in watching his work ethic, watching his determination to make the best record ever. So I was fortunate and blessed to be around these guys and watch their process. So I adopted and absorbed a lot of these things from these great individuals. So that's Mobb Deep, that's Ice Cube. Then we fast forward past that. One artist who I really, really enjoyed working with a lot was Petey Pablo. Me and Petey, great friends even to this day. Like any brotherhood, we've had ups and we've had downs, but that is my friend, that is my brother. And
you EP'd this joint, right? You EP'd this joint, right?
Say that again?
You EP'd this first joint.
Myself and my partner Buddha and our crew, Producers Coalition of America, we executive produced his first album, Diary Part 1. Now, the funny thing about Petey, and he was always a comedian, but when I met him, he kind of just showed up on my doorstep. The same road manager that Busta had, Fab, my good friend Fab, who we spent a lot of time together. We created a lot of energy together. Fab was like, hey, I got this rapper. He's awesome from North Carolina. So Petey kind of showed up on the doorstep with Fab. And once he showed up, and, I had some other rappers at the house at the time. And I was like, North Carolina? I said, what do you want me to do with this guy? He said, just listen to him. So I listened to him. And the minute that I heard him, because he was melodic, he had soul, and he had cadence, and he had subject matter. He had everything that I was looking for in an artist at that particular moment in history. It's about 2000. Me and Buddha both agreed simultaneously. We got to put some energy into this guy with the right safe environment. we could make something of this. And we took some time and put some time and effort into it, and eventually were able to walk out with a deal at Jive and to do a successful platinum album with Petey. And you know, I learned a lot from him too. So I learned a lot from these particular artists. You know, it's not, as a producer, I don't just go in and say, hey, this is what I need you to do, this is what I want you to do, this is what I want you to have, sounds good, let's go. I have to absorb, because I want the artists to display their talent, not my talent.
Right. It's a two-way street.
Absolutely. I just want to be able to, for the spotlight to be on them, and I want to be able for them to maximize their potential by how we work in tandem to get the most out of what we're trying to create.
Right.
So, and then, you know, and then Sticky Fingaz, you know, it's hard to even encapsulate the type of relationship with Sticky, because once we got to meet him, and him and Buddha, you know, those two are like two bad brothers, kids that are playing in the playground, always fighting on each other and stuff like that. Watching them is exciting, it's energetic, you know, and they're always snapping and stuff like that. And I jump in here and there, but those two have this particular chemistry. And Sticky was just so talented, could write about anything, talk about anything, and the way that he addressed his topics was never the same and wasn't like anybody else. So working with him was awesome. And, you know, meeting Fredro and all these guys. And
the great actors too. Great actors.
Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. So, like I said, it was an evolution. So I also got into film and television. And one of the first TV show I ever worked on was a show that I don't think really got off the ground. It was called Dance 360. And Fredro was the host. So this was prior to me meeting Sticky. So we, you know, I got a chance to meet Fredro in a different life. I was a production assistant on a TV show that he was the host of. But we had a good rapport. Then we worked with Sticky. And that was another exciting part of our adventure. Actually, I don't remember which one came first, so I could be lying about that. But either way, you know, I got a chance to meet both of them from different ways. Both became awesome actors, both super talented rappers. Sticky, his blueprint of artistry, I definitely have borrowed some ideas from his book, you know, of how to construct these insane projects. We worked on an album of his called Autobiography of Kirk Jones, which basically is a very similar version of what I did in my book, which where I took poetry and created a story and gave you a storyline about my life. His autobiography is the same type of thing, except it's a rap album. And when I tell you it's a masterpiece, and did not get the light that I think it should have gotten, but anybody who hears this should go back and check Autobiography of Kirk Jones, listen to it from top to bottom. I guarantee you, you won't look at hip hop the same, you know. And if that's not the case, hit me up on Instagram. Let's talk about it, you know. And so I got a chance to meet all of these exciting people, and it kind of segued me into film and television. And that was the next part of my journey after that, because a lot of these artists, if you hear the collection, it's heavy 90s influence and early 2000s influence. So at that point, I wasn't working as much in music, but I started really falling in love with looking at the visual medium. So I started becoming more involved in film and television, and started at the bottom rung and stayed on the bottom rung for a long time, because that's my favorite place to learn at, because I stay out of everybody's way. Nobody's paying attention to me, and I'm getting all the secrets.
Yeah, absorbing.
I'm absorbing everything.
Yeah, I'm a great ear hustler. That's what me and my girl Tosh, my producer, she always say. Like, listen, we don't just sit back in the cut. You gotta lean back a little bit sometimes, be all in, and then you know where the next thing is going on. Like, I got a whole bunch of stories. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, but we could tell those later, because it's about you, not about my story.
It's about us, you know. It's about us. I'm always a team player, no matter what. And speaking of team, when I did Poison, the producers of the actual record Poison was Spider-Man and Freeze. So during that time, I didn't work with them on that record, but I met them during that time period. And to this day, me, Spider, and Freeze are best friends. Me and Spider, we connect every day. One of my business partners in the Producers Coalition of America. And, so me, him have kind of taken a lot of this journey, especially when I moved into film and television. He moved along with me into film and television. So we kind of kept and that's how we keep each other strong, because we stay close to each other, we encourage each other, and we try to make moves that will be beneficial to the whole. We think of ourselves as a collective, and we move as a collective.
Right. And I want to get to the book. So, but before that, I want to say that you're a hip hop scientist. I'm gonna start right there, and it's gonna go with the whole thing, because you know how people say you don't work in your degree. And then you see how you flip your degree up. You're a hip hop scientist. Like you got a degree in biology, correct? You're no longer dissecting animals. You're dissecting beats in the industry.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is, I have to say, school taught me how to study. Mm-hmm. The biology, that was a direction that my parents were kind of pushing for me.
Oh, man, yeah.
My mother, my father's vision was for me to be Dr. Durant, which is not a bad idea.
Yeah.
But
still be in school right now, but
absolutely, but I followed their dream for a while, and I had to do that out of respect for my parents. My parents were very good growing up.
Yes.
So I followed that dream. But once I got in those classes and started learning about mitochondria, and it just really made me very, very sleepy.
make you had narcolepsy.
Yeah. So I would find myself writing rhymes in the back of my biochemistry class, and in my physics lab. So my physics lab book turned into my rhyme book, and I just really I had a magnetic attraction to this music, and I had to follow it. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad.
They like, don't be saying sorry to me. Thank you.
But they understood, and once they realized that I was serious about it, then they backed me up. My father made me let him know that I wanted it. He was like, he did not let up on me. He was like, you're gonna do what you need to do, but you need to figure it out.
Right.
And if this is it, you're gonna do it. I'm not gonna hold your hand with none of this. And he didn't, so he made me have to really work for what I did. And I appreciate him for that. And I appreciate my mom for supporting me. If I was gonna, no matter what I was gonna do, she's always standing there by me. And she's not with us anymore, but my biggest inspiration and my biggest guardian angel.
Right. Sure. Mine too, my mama too.
Absolutely.
Exactly same situation. So let's get to the book. Let's go with the book. Let's go.
From Ghetto to Greater.
Ghetto to Greater. That's the hardcover too, I could tell.
Oh yeah. Very observant. Not many of those exist.
Exactly. All right, I'm a nerd, because I was like, dang, there's a hardcover. Like, I got so excited seeing the hardcover.
That's the one that's on display in the living room, So this was a fun project to do, especially after I got into film and television. And I'm watching this visual medium, and I'm kind of segueing out of producing records as much. But I had all these internal stories, and everybody would always remark, a lot of people who know me, they're like, Mello got some stories, man. I tell Mello got a story for everything. And the thing about it is, all these stories are 99% true.
Hey, when we was rapping on the phone, what I tell you the other night, I was like, stop telling me stuff. Like, I want to hear this. I want everybody else to hear some of these right now, too.
And they're fun stories. I lived through them. They were exciting. And I wanted people to understand, I didn't want to talk about like, being in the studio with this artist or doing that thing. I wanted to talk about my personal emotion as I was in the business, moved out of the business, became working in a restaurant. I wanted them to see all of those parts, because I didn't want them to be disillusioned by the hype and the glory of the fun part.
It's some hard work.
And I call it Ghetto to Greater. I'm not in the book busting ratchets, as they say, stuff like that. But I came from an all-black community which when I first moved there, it was a mixed community, and from what I understand before that, it was a white community. So as I'm moving in, this community is evolving, and it's becoming a lot more melanated. My high school was 95%. I'm sorry, my bad, 98% Black. So my experience growing up as a teenager was all Black everything.
Yeah.
You know, and I enjoyed the childhood. I enjoyed my friends. Life to me was exciting, and I didn't even know that. The projects in our neighborhood, that's where I went every day. I didn't live in the projects. I lived in the houses on the other side.
Right.
But I would leave in the morning and go hang out with my friends at the projects. But we didn't, to me, it wasn't like I'm going to the project. No, I'm going to
yeah, nobody wasn't thinking about it like that.
Their parents treated me like a son, and I had the time of my life, and we made music, and we DJ'd, and we played basketball. I was terrible. So I focused on the music side of it, and I just wanted people to kind of feel just how my journey was, and I didn't want to make people always sad. I wanted to celebrate some of these things, the highs and the lows, and that's what but the thing is, I was given a gift by God to be able to put words together, especially in a poetic form.
Exactly.
So I use that gift, and my book is written completely in poetry, from top to bottom, but it's still in the rhythm of
story form.
In story form, So it's it was fun to write, but it was also a challenge to write, doing all those things simultaneously, and to try to come up with something that the reader would be interested in. Right. So I'm working on my second one now. The Evolution Will Not Be Terrorized is the working title right now. And these are stories that I love to tell, and I'm going to continue to do it. And I'm able to, the good thing about it is my book has become a performance piece, because I can tell the stories in it and entertain you at the same time on stage, and on Zoom and on TV, and it's exciting because my biggest joy is to entertain folks and to get them to smile. I was on a date once, and a young lady asked me, she said, "Well, what are you gonna do with your life?" I said, "Make people smile." She left me probably within 48 hours, because that answer scared the life out of her.
Right, she didn't know what to do with it.
That answer is how I feel. What do I want to do with my life? I want to make people smile. I want to entertain people through the antics and the semantics of my own life. And I want to, and I've been doing that through my music, now through the medium of book culture, and now also working in film and television. And I worked on Love and Hip Hop New York. I've worked on Real Housewives of Potomac. I've worked on Comic Book Men on AMC, and VMAs for VH1, numerous shows and live events. And that was also another joyous part, because the people that I met in that world were so dynamic and so diverse. And these are the stories I also share. I don't just share my story, I share everyone's story, because I want us to know each other. I want us as a global community to get to know each other. Right. And if I can help connect some lives and some energy in my process and my journey, then I feel like, that's part of my purpose. That's part of my purpose.
Cool. So we finna make somebody smile, and a lot of people smile. We're gonna have you bust something real quick. But before you do that, I want you to say where people can look out for you, like your social media handles and stuff, because I could just text you or something, but I want people to hear this, because you're gonna make us have a part 3. Now you talking other stuff. Now we're gonna have to have a part 3.
All right, sounds good. Well, on Instagram, I am at Shamello D, which is S as in Sam, HAMELLO D, as in David. At Shamello D, that's Instagram. On Facebook, I am just Shamello Durant, SHAMELLO Durant, like Kevin Durant, my cousin. Well, I hope he's my cousin.
Yeah. You couldn't play basketball.
Yeah. I didn't get the cousin. Yeah, he on my other cousin's side.
I know, right?
So I didn't get that gene. But primarily, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'm always having a good time just kind of posting stuff and letting people get a whiff of what I do. And if you give me a moment, I want to talk to the new crop, because I want to give you an overview of what it takes to get into this rap game, you know. And I've talked about it, but I want to give you an idea of what it really takes to, at least from my past, what I've had to do and how I've had to address it. So you want to ask me about this thing called rapping. Cool. Because to me, it's like a ship at sea. But what you should really ask me is, who's the ship's captain? Is it the manager, the label president, the banker, the artist? It's hard to say which one of these men, I'm sorry, or women, is the ship's captain. But one second. My big pen stands regardless. See, the big pen, interesting. This is the tool that we used to use to fuse the words to the paper. Back when the major labels became dependent on the independent labels who became major. See, I made you get up when I used to drop my hot bars in these local bars, or even in my pad or my block, or even on the back blocks. But nowadays, from what I understand, you don't even need hot bars to become global stars, as long as you got your iPhone, your iPad, your Samsung, or your laptop. Now, we used to make mixtapes in the basement, loud music playing, pissing off the next door neighbor adjacent. I'm sorry, Miss Jason. That's at least till she saw me on MTV, BET, NBC, one of those three. No, I'm sorry, actually all of those three. And then she ran around the hood bragging, talking about, I know them kids, they all live next door to me. One of them produced Buster, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See. And he also co-wrote BBD, thought it was me. And of course that was me. And today it's still true too, because it can happen to you too if you get 2 million views on YouTube, dude. So as I say, keep your engine revving. Vroom, vroom. Tune up that search engine. Vroom, vroom. Check in the hood. And don't let mama, better yet, don't let karma catch you up to no good. Vroom. Beware the speed bumps. Vroom. Speed trap. Vroom. Red light cameras and potholes. And then you pray to your savior to help you. And then you tell yourself, I will not lose. But when you pray to your savior, pray for favor. Pray for the favor to help you. But not just the favor to help you, pray to your savior for the favor to help you to help yourself through. And stop talking about it. It's all about who you know. People come to me all the time. It's all about who you know. That's a rule that's so untrue, you know, because to tell you the truth, here's the rule that you should know. Because it's not all about who you know. It's all about who knows you, bro. And that's rule numero uno. So whether you're vrooming or revving, whether you're major or independent, make heat that they will never forget instead of heat that they will never mention. See, I know this dude. He got tripped up, slipped up. He got locked up in detention. He got sloppy in a botched armed robbery, and he lost his independence. And he's been in the pen since. Yes, he's been in the penitentiary ever since that incident. And incidentally, I admit, his big pen, his written, his spitting, flammable. Oof. But now he can't even walk down the damn avenue because he's locked up inside a hot box with lots of bars, like a caged animal. How many of y'all done seen that story before? Missed the shot, the shot clock stopped before you could score. See, I know a lot of gals and a lot of guys who are qualified to be on Spotify. And some of them got a lot of hustle, but they forgot to cross their T's and dot their I's. And some of them won't even move a muscle to bust through just because the whole hood loves you. Man, you could be in the same hood, getting the same love, but the rest of the world won't even know your name, bruh. So you got to come out the house to be heard. You got to come out the hood to be worldwide word, because your word and your words are the vehicle that can see it through. And I'm living proof. See, I got platinum plaques all throughout my living room, because I admit, you can get a rep from the freaking internet, but it's a disrespect if you can't get respect at a freaking discotheque, according to these vets. See, I find it precarious and outrageous that you the man on Instagram and you still can't command various stages. I say, get your funky asses out the basement. Now, I already told y'all, I made heat in the basement, but it still needed a placement. So here's what I did. I feverishly ran around and told people what I did and what I can do. And most of the time they say, yeah, man, that sounds cool, but we'll have to get back to you. But I was patient. And actually, honestly, some of them did get back to me. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't, but whether they did or they didn't, they knew that this kid wasn't kidding. They knew that I wasn't bullshitting. See, I had to be consistent and persistent. I got to know all of the executives and all of their assistants. And I got a lot of assistance from some of those assistants, because the same ones who block the door to stop you from getting in are the same ones who can unlock the door if you're willing to get it in. But to fit in, you might have to pay in to stay in. And here's what I mean. I had to pay dues and commissions the same way that you pay school with tuition, because you got to pay for that pot that you squat to piss in, because you're not efficient if you ain't got a pot to piss in. Now back to those executive assistants who later became the executives. This wasn't speculative or a coincidence, because I've seen it happen in consecutive instances. And now I know CEOs with their own TV shows who started as interns or students with apprenticeships, and they're the same ones that right now I got lifelong friendships with, because I took my time, but I hurried up. And then I waited. But while I was waiting, I was working, because I was certain that you can't just blatantly be waiting without putting that freaking work in. See, I waited on callbacks. I even waited on tables. I worked my magic on them jerks who work at them record labels. I bought books just to read, to either study the history or to study what I was going to need just to succeed, with faith much larger than just a mustard seed, because I must succeed, because I got no plan B. And I don't even know if my family even understands me, because we got to think smarter and we got to go harder. In fact, here's how we do this. Reach and teach each of the students, even the truants, with prudence and influence. Show a little class, even if the scenario is to lead a new school on a quest for new students. This is what I was taught to do. And I must say that I thought you knew that this is what we were all supposed to do. And if I hear you say, man, Mello, ain't nobody ever gonna put me on, then I fault you too. Because this morning, you put your socks on, you put your shoes on, you put your shirt on, you put your pants on, and before you go out the door, before you make that song to make them get on the floor and get their dance on, thank the Lord. Thank you for another day that we can all stand strong. Then go out there and put your own ass on. This is, honestly, tell you the truth, this is one of them joints that I wish I had that rapper chance on. But I digress. Anyway, here's a little food for thought. Who'd have thought that since I am one of hip hop's biggest fans, that my man Cutty wouldn't call me in just to cool this off, man? Now that's just a couple of lessons from me. And anybody out there, if y'all got any questions for me, or I don't know, any suggestions for me, or even if you need me to just come to your recording session for free, we could talk about it. But let's just be frank. That's if you want to be hot, dog. Thanks. Shamello Durant.
Conversations with Cutty. Ha ha ha.
Cheers.
We're back. Get the book. He got cups. I wasn't going here. I was finna end it with a blast, but he came out with the cup. Then everybody know I'm stupid already. So that was dope, bro, man.
Thank you.
I love it. Y'all get y'all some, man. Go check it out at Shamello D. I'll have it down there so y'all can see. Haha, y'all didn't know I could kick it like that, B. We out of here.
I'm telling y'all, don't sleep on Cutty. Don't sleep on Cutty. Don't sleep on him.
We out of here.
Hey, Cutty, thank you again, sir, for even taking the time out to allow me to come to your platform and share portions of my story. I'm always grateful when someone allows me their platform to speak and expound upon what I've gone through. I've lived it, but to share it is just as exciting. So thank you very much. And you're a gentleman and a scholar. And my best to you, Chalant Magazine. And
hey, appreciate you too, bro. Man, like I said, your energy is amazing. And hey, you got it. We gonna get up. Definitely. So Shamello D, remember the name. You know what I mean? Biology is his name. He's a hip hop scientist up in here. And that's it, Cutty. Conversation with Cutty. And this dude is hip hop right here. And now y'all know, y'all heard it from me. Not first, maybe 1 millionth or something like that, but y'all still heard it from me.
Also, me and Dinko D, Bring the Muscle out.
Hey.
That'll be out next month, so pay attention. Bring the Muscle out. Dinko D featuring yours truly.
Let's get it. I'll be hitting you up, bro. Peace.